The cold dawn breeze cuts through the valley of Lake Eyasi. The sun has not yet crested the horizon, but the darkness is already beginning to yield, revealing the twisted silhouettes of the acacia and the massive baobab trees. The earth is freezing beneath our bare feet. There are no walls around us, no doors to close. The world outside and our camp are the exact same thing. The first to wake are the elders. The sound that breaks the silence of the night is not an alarm, but the dry friction of wood. Now, we prepare the fire, the heart of our camp. A hard stick is spun rapidly between the palms of the hands over a softer wooden base. Within seconds, a faint gray smoke rises. The smell of burnt wood spreads. A tiny ember is born, carefully placed into a nest of dry grass, and blown upon gently, rhythmically, until yellow flames roar to life. We gather near the fire, rubbing our arms to ward off the night's chill. There is no rush, no rigid schedules dictating what we must do. The sunlight begins to paint the sky in shades of orange and red. The camp dogs stretch and come to lie down near the flames. Gradually, the women and children awaken from their simple shelters, built from interwoven branches and tall grass. Breakfast is simple. Pieces of meat from yesterday's hunt, left near the ashes so they wouldn't spoil, are placed back on the fire for a few minutes. We chew the tough meat, dividing what we have. Our society does not know the word accumulation. What we hunt and gather is consumed. Tomorrow will take care of itself. Now we prepare our tools for the day. Survival in the savannah demands absolute precision, and that precision begins long before we find our prey. It begins right here, sitting on the dirt floor, as the morning sun begins to warm our backs. The men gather. Each of us brings his bow. They are long, almost as tall as we are, crafted from the flexible, resilient wood of the dombea tree. The string is made of animal sinew, stretched and tested. We pull it. The sound is deep, tense. A loose bow means hunger. Next, we examine the arrows. This is the most critical stage. We have different arrows for different purposes. The ones with sharp wooden tips are for birds and small game. But for big game, for the animals that share this territory with us, we need something else. We reach for the metal-tipped arrows. These arrowheads were forged by a neighboring tribe, the Datoga, and we traded honey or meat to get them. We sharpen the metal blades on smooth stones until they slice like a feline's tooth. Then, with extreme caution, we apply the poison. The poison is extracted from the sap of the desert rose, boiled until it becomes a dark, thick paste resembling pitch. We spread this paste just below the metal tip, making absolutely sure not to touch the substance with any open cuts on our hands. It is a powerful toxin, capable of stopping the heart of a massive antelope. We wrap the tip with thin strips of hide to protect the poison until the moment of impact. The sun is high now. The heat begins to settle in. It is time to leave. The camp divides. The women, armed with their digging sticks, gather the children. They head toward the humid valleys to dig for roots and tubers, and to harvest the fruit of the baobab. Their work is what guarantees that we will never starve, even on the days when the hunt fails. But we, the men, take our bows and arrows. We head into the dense savannah. We step into the undergrowth in single file. From this moment on, silence is our greatest weapon. Our steps break no branches. Our feet know every stone, every thorn. We do not walk on the earth. We glide across it. The air is dry and the wind blows against our faces. This is good. The wind carries our scent behind us, far away from the sensitive noses of the animals we are hunting. The savannah seems empty to those who do not know how to look, but for us, it is an open book, filled with signs and directions. We stop. The hunter at the front raises his hand. We freeze instantly. He crouches and points to the red dirt. Right there, the clear outline of hooves. We gather in silence, examining the track. The edges of the mark in the sand are still sharp, undisturbed by the wind. There is a small pile of dung beside it, still moist under the sun's crust. It is a kudu, a large antelope, and it passed through here less than an hour ago. We begin to track. Our eyes do not solely look at the ground. They sweep the bushes, the shadows of the trees, the slightest movement of the leaves. We communicate without words. A soft whistle, a muffled snap of the fingers. Hand gestures indicate direction, speed, and danger. We walk for hours. The sun punishes our shoulders, but we carry no water. We know where to find water-filled roots if thirst becomes unbearable. Our concentration is absolute. The savanna demands respect. A single misstep can alert the prey or put us in the path of a leopard or a venomous snake. Suddenly, the environment shifts. The smell of crushed vegetation reaches our noses. We lower ourselves, blending in with the tall, yellow grass. Through the thorny branches of an acacia, we see him. The kudu is standing in the shade, chewing leaves. He is a massive, muscular animal with spiraling horns. His ears twitch constantly, catching every sound. The hunt is a game of patience. We cannot run toward him. We need to get close, very close, so that our precision is lethal. The hunter chosen for the shot begins to move, crawling. Every conquered inch takes minutes. He uses the tree trunks as visual shields. He synchronizes his movements with the wind. When the wind shakes the branches and creates noise, he advances. When the wind stops, he turns to stone. He gets within 20 paces. The animal still has not realized death is so near. The hunter rises slowly, still concealed by a bush. He pulls the poisoned arrow from his leather quiver. He knocks it onto the bowstring. His breathing stops. The muscles in his back and arms contract, pulling the heavy string with tremendous force. The bow bends, storing all the energy of the Dombeya wood. The hunter's eye aligns the arrowhead with the vital spot just behind the animal's shoulder, where the lungs and heart sit. It is a split second of absolute focus, where nothing else exists in the world but the arrowhead and the target. He releases the string. The sound is a dry whip. The arrow flies, tearing through the air, and strikes the animal with a dull thud. The kudu violently leaps into the air, lets out a snort of pain and shock, and bolts away through the bushes, snapping branches in a desperate flight. We do not run after him. We stand up calmly. We know the animal is wounded, and the poison has already entered its bloodstream. If we run, adrenaline will push the animal much further. If we wait, the poison will do its job, and he will lie down to rest and never rise again. We sit under the shade of the acacia where the animal just stood. We take out our flint and small wooden pipes. We smoke tobacco, resting our muscles, letting time pass. We speak in low voices about the shot, about the precision of the arrow that struck exactly where it was meant to. There is no loud celebration, just the acknowledgement of a job well done. This is survival. Half an hour passes. Now we will follow the blood trail. We stand and walk to the point of impact. The arrow snapped, and the wooden shaft fell to the ground. We collect it to use again. The poisoned metal tip remains lodged inside the animal's body. Tracking a wounded animal requires even greater skill. The kudu bled very little. We follow drops of dark red blood on dry leaves, branches broken at the height of the animal's shoulders, stones overturned by fleeing hooves. We walk for another hour, entering a denser area of brush. Crows begin to circle in the sky ahead of us. It is the sign. We quicken our pace and soon find him. The great beast has collapsed onto the earth, lifeless. The poison stopped his heart silently. We approach with respect. There are no shouts of victory. The animal gave us his life so that we may continue living, just as one day the earth will consume our bodies. We begin the heavy work. Using small, sharp knives, we skin the animal right there. The hide is removed carefully, as it will be used to make sleeping mats or simple clothing for colder days. The meat is butchered and separated. The internal organs, full of vital nutrients, are extracted. The liver and heart are cut into small pieces. We quickly build a small fire using dry branches found nearby, and we roast these small portions over the embers. We eat in silence, replenishing the energy spent on hours of hunting. The taste is strong, mixed with ashes and dust, the taste of the earth itself. The sun has passed midday and begins its descent. We must carry this meat back to camp before nocturnal predators, like hyenas and lions, catch the scent of blood. We cut the meat into heavy bundles, wrap everything in the animal's own hide, and use sturdy branches to create carrying poles. We hoist the bundles onto our shoulders. The weight is brutal. It crushes our bones. But it is the weight that guarantees days without hunger for our people. The journey back is done at a steady pace. Sweat pours down our bodies, mixing with the red dirt. As we get closer to our campsite, we hear voices. We stop. A small, gray-breasted bird lands in a nearby tree and begins to chirp incessantly, fluttering its wings. It is the honey guide bird. Even carrying the heavy meat, we do not ignore the call of nature. Honey is our pure energy, the most caloric food we know. We leave the meat in the shade of a tree, under the watch of 2 hunters, and follow the bird. It flies from branch to branch, guiding us for about 500 meters until it stops at an ancient baobab. The trunk is hollow, and we can see the small hole where the bees enter and exit. Now we are going to extract the honey. We gather green, damp branches and moss from the rocks. We light a fire and create a torch that produces heavy smoke and very little flame. One of us, using the brute strength of his arms and legs, scales the smooth side of the baobab, using wooden pegs we hammered into old crevices. He reaches the level of the hive and blows the smoke into the hole. The bees pour out furiously, stinging his arms, his face, his chest. He does not scream, he does not thrash. Pain is part of the process. He thrusts his arm into the dark hole and tears out huge chunks of honeycomb, dripping with thick golden liquid. He drops the combs down to us. We eat the honeycomb right there, mixed with wax, larvae, and pollen. The sweet taste explodes in our mouths, delivering an instant rush of energy. We store the rest in small gourd containers to take back to the children. We leave a piece of comb on the tree branch for the honey guide bird. It is our trade, our ancient pact with the creatures of this land. We never break this promise. We return to the meat, heave the weight back onto our shoulders, and finally cover the last stretch to the camp. When we emerge from the bushes, the sun is already touching the mountains in the background, painting the savanna with long, thin shadows. Our arrival is met with calm voices and murmurs of approval. The women have already returned from gathering. We see small piles of yellow tubers, baobab fruits, and red berries scattered on the ground. We place the meat in the center of the camp. Now occurs the most important process of our daily life, the sharing. There is no leader who takes the best cut. There is no concept of a chieftain demanding tribute. The meat belongs to everyone. The cuts are made. Heavy pieces are handed to the hunters who brought down the animal, but they immediately pass them on to their families, who in turn share with the elders, those who can no longer hunt, and the children. The sharing is absolute. If there is meat, everyone eats. If there is none, everyone feels hunger together. No one sleeps with a full belly while the neighbor beside them suffers. The campfires, which burned low during the day, are now fed with thick acacia branches. The fire grows, driving back the darkness that descends rapidly upon us. The savanna at night is not a safe place. The fire is our wall, our protection against what crawls and what hunts in the dark. We cut the meat into long strips and throw them directly onto the glowing red coals. The sizzle of fat dripping into the fire fills the air with the best scent we know. We use no pots. We use no spices. The flavor of the meat, the smoke of the dry wood, and the ashes are all we need. We take the tough roots the women gathered and bury them in the hot ashes at the edge of the fire to soften. The practical work of the day is not over. Daily survival demands constant maintenance. Sitting near the fire, a hunter stretches the kudu hide across the ground, using sharpened wooden stakes to pin it to the earth. With a sharp-edged stone, he begins to scrape away the remaining fat and flesh attached to the skin. It is repetitive, exhausting work. The scraping sound blends with the crackle of the flames. This hide will dry in the sun over the next few days until it hardens, and then it will be rubbed with stones and animal fat to soften into a blanket. Another among us takes the arrow shaft that snapped during the hunt. Using his teeth and quick hands, he removes the leftover sinew. He takes a stiff feather from a bird of prey shot days ago, trims the edges, and uses tree resin heated in the fire to glue the feathers to the base of a new wooden shaft. The arrow's balance must be perfect. The air does not forgive aerodynamic flaws. The meat is ready. We pull it from the embers with bare hands, accustomed to the heat. We tear the tough fibers with our teeth. We eat a lot. We eat everything we can. We chew the leftover honey, licking our sticky fingers. We unearth the tubers from the ashes, now soft and sweet, and divide them. Night falls completely. The sky above our camp transforms into a black cloak, studded with stars. Far from the lights of cities we do not even know exist, the stars shine with an aggressive brilliance. The Milky Way is a river of silver dust stretching across the firmament from end to end. With full stomachs, the exhaustion of the day finally catches up with our bodies. But we are not going to sleep just yet. The night around the campfire is when we are most ourselves. It is the time to remember, to teach, to reinforce who we are. Smoke circulates through the small pipes. The air is thick with the smell of tobacco, roasted meat, and wood smoke. The elders begin to speak. Their narration is not rushed. It is measured, punctuated by hand gestures illuminated by the flames. They tell the story of today's hunt. They do not merely report it. They pantomime the movements. We see the hunter pretend to hold the bow. We see the tension in his face as he describes the moment he released the arrow. He mimics the sound of the wind, the sound of the impact. We laugh. The day's tension dissolves. The children, sitting on their mothers' laps, watch everything with wide eyes, absorbing every word, every sound. This is how they learn. They learn the patience of the stalk, the power of the strike, and the respect for the fallen animal. There are no notebooks here. Our memory is kept alive in the voices told and retold around these red ashes. Older stories follow, stories about how the world was created, about why the sun burns at midday, about our ancestors who walked these exact plains when giant beasts, which no longer exist, ruled the valley. The rhythm of the conversation is like the heartbeat of the tribe. Outside, in the impenetrable darkness of the savannah, the night reveals its true face. We hear, in the distance, the hysterical, bone-chilling laugh of the hyenas. They have caught the scent of the blood we brought back on our bodies and clothing, but they know the fire is a line they cannot cross. A little while later, the low, deep, vibrating roar of a lion echoes through the valley, so powerful it seems to shake the ground beneath our feet. We do not care. The fire burns high. Our bows are resting by our sides. We have played our part in the chain of this world today. We have survived. One by one, sleep overcomes the group. We lie down right there, on the hard earth, close to the heat of the flames, wrapped in rustic hides or curled up tightly to conserve body heat. The conversations dwindle into inaudible murmurs, which are soon swallowed by the crackle of burning wood. The camp plunges into silence, broken only by the wind in the high trees and the deep, rhythmic breathing of exhausted men, women, and children. The dogs lie with their heads between their paws, watching the shadows. We accumulate no possessions. Our homes are the crooked branches of this dry land. Our documents are the footprints we leave in the dust, which the wind will wipe away before dawn. Tomorrow morning will bring the exact same harsh routine. The biting cold, the search for water, the crafting of tools, and the need to walk for miles beneath the unforgiving sun to find our meal. Life in the savannah offers no truce, but as long as there is game crossing the plains, as long as the poison stops hearts in the exact fraction of a deadly second, and as long as our precision outpaces the speed of the escape, we will remain here. The stars rotate slowly in the night sky. The fire consumes the last thick piece of firewood, turning into a sea of glowing embers that will fight off the cold until the sun rises once again. And so ends the day of the Hadza. The cycle of pure survival rests, waiting for the first ray of light to begin anew.